It's decision day for two elite defensive backs. Where do the Tigers stand? We've got the latest. Don't move. It's Locked on LSU. Let's go.
You are Locked on LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked on LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Glad to have you aboard with us here. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. We're free, available wherever you get podcasts. We're on YouTube, so please subscribe. And of course, we appreciate you for hanging out with us on a busy day, as we did have a chance to visit with LSU commitment Phillip Wright of Destrehan, a one-time Michigan receiver commit who recently flipped to LSU. You'll hear in his words why he flipped from Michigan to LSU. That's coming up. But it is decision day for two elite defensive back prospects, and LSU's got a hat on the table for both. Aidan Anding and Jonah Williams will both announce today, Saturday, July 24th. Excuse me, on July. Don't let us go backwards. August 24th. No, we are. It is the start of college football. It is week 0. We are 8 days away as I record this from the start of LSU football. Let us not go backwards a month. August 24th, both Aidan Anding, the cornerback out of Ruston, and Jonah Williams, the 5-star number 1 safety in America, are set to make their announcements. I have a few tidbits about each that I'd like to share. So earlier in the week, if you were here, our buddy Shea Dixon from On3, the Bengal Tiger, shared his prediction that he thinks it will be LSU for Aidan Anding. Anding is 5'11", 160 pounds. He is a consensus 3-star cornerback out of Ruston. And he is a guy that was thought to be ready to commit to Texas. And when LSU came in and offered Aidan Anding, everything flipped. They got him on campus. He was here for the Bayou Splash. Lead recruiter Corey Raymond, his secondary recruiter Frank Wilson, and by all accounts, it certainly appears as though LSU is going to earn Aidan Anding's commitment on Saturday. As it stands right now on the RPM, the recruiting prediction machine from On3, Tigers have a 74% chance of landing Aidan Anding, but it seems higher than that. Tigers currently have 24 commits, so if they do get Anding, that would be 25. Of course, DJ Pickett, the number 1 cornerback in America, is already committed to LSU. And when you look at the secondary, you got Cade Phillips, of course, who recently flipped to LSU from Texas as the second cornerback. Aside from that, you've got safety help with Jace Thomas out of Destrehan, CJ Jim Coyley out of Nashville. But you need to load up more on cornerback, as we've talked about, and it just in that secondary because of what could happen in the portal and who you're going to lose. You know, guys like Sage Ryan out of eligibility after this season, Zy Alexander out of eligibility after this season, so they need to build numbers there. And Aidan Anding is a guy who they feel really good about. Like I always say, look at the offer list, not necessarily the star ranking or rating or anything like that. Look at the offer list. And Aidan Anding's offer list is long and distinguished from LSU in Texas, Miami, USC, Ole Miss. Dave Aranda at Baylor has offered, Arkansas, TCU. So Aidan Anding's got a lot of big-time offers, and it appears as though LSU is going to land that commitment. The one, though, that everyone clearly is keeping an eye on is Jonah Williams, and with good reason. We've talked for months now about Jonah Williams. He's the number 1 safety in America, but he's also an elite baseball prospect. And it was a dual recruiting job by LSU, both the football staff and by Jay Johnson and the baseball staff. You know, I was talking on Friday night to a longtime National League scout who's a friend of mine, and he just continues to stress that even if a guy like Jonah Williams goes and plays football and let's say, you know, misses part of baseball because he's in spring football, as soon as he steps back on the field, on the baseball field, give him 2 weeks to just sort of get acclimated, and he's immediately the best player on the team. That's the type of prospect you're talking about here. A guy that is a transcendent type talent, a guy that is a 5-tool guy on the baseball diamond, a guy that is a top half of round 1 pick next year, should he show up this coming summer, after his senior year. And by all accounts, he's not planning on playing his senior year of baseball, something I was told, that he was planning on preparing for the football season. So wherever he commits and signs, he would be there in the spring and start working on spring football and getting bigger and stronger, and would not play high school baseball in the spring of 2025. And then, of course, would be ready for the 2026 season wherever he's playing collegiately. That's provided he doesn't sign a professional baseball contract in the summer of 2025. Again, there's a lot of moving parts here with Jonah Williams, but the best and latest intel that I have is that he's torn, and it's a 50-50 split with LSU and Texas. So Texas A&M has also been in the mix as well. Oregon at one point was in the mix, but by all accounts, it seems like this is down to LSU and Texas for Jonah Williams. I mentioned Shea Dixon. Shea was with us here earlier in the week, and Shea's prediction was it was a lean really toward Texas for Jonah Williams. Steve Wiltfong from On3 put in his prediction for Texas for Jonah Williams. Now, that's a prediction Steve Wiltfong made, and then Jonah Williams went and quote tweeted that prediction and said, "Yay, more predictions, ... as if to roll his eyes. I believe that this is a young man who is torn on his decision by everything I can tell. It sounds like, from a football standpoint, Texas probably has a lead. Maybe their staff did a little bit better job recruiting, and of course, he's from the state of Texas. From a baseball standpoint, it seems very clear that LSU and LSU's baseball staff has done a better job of recruiting, and that should make sense. I mean, Jay Johnson has been on Jonah Williams since the beginning, since he was a young high schooler. Of course, Jim Schlossnagle was at Texas A&M recruiting Jonah Williams, and he just got the Texas job. So maybe the thought of playing baseball at Texas wasn't always front and center until Jim Schlossnagle went to Texas. So it stands to reason that LSU on the baseball side would be ahead. You've recently won a national title. You've had more team success. You've got a better ballpark, better facilities, better fan interaction, better NIL opportunities, better everything. True NIL. I'm not talking about pay for play. I'm talking about true NIL at LSU, because people care more about baseball. A guy like Tommy White's a great example of that, who made tons of legitimate NIL money doing autograph signings and appearances and photo shoots. And yes, that's there for LSU baseball that may not be there for Texas baseball. One other interesting tidbit that I was told on Friday night, and just file this away for whatever it's worth. I was told Texas does have a healthier NIL offer than LSU. I don't think that should be any surprise, and it's a big number, the disparity. And I don't know that it's a disparity LSU makes up. I don't think they can completely close that gap. So I think for Jonah Williams, it's a matter of what do you want to do. If you prefer LSU, do you go there and make a very nice NIL payday but leave money on the table, or do you go to Texas, which is a great program and a great school, and make more money? Maybe that's the answer. I don't know. But the thing that was told to me on Friday night was that this is a young man that truly is torn and doesn't know what he wants to do. And as a result, I think it's why you're seeing a lot of the reports that are conflicting and where really people who cover recruiting day in and day out don't have an answer for what Jonah Williams is going to do. And that tells me that even and so the question I asked, I'll tell you, I'll just relay this part of the conversation that I asked this person was, well, if the kid's not sure where he wants to go, then why is he setting an arbitrary deadline? Why is he self-imposing this deadline to make his announcement if he doesn't know where he wants to go? And it was essentially to say, I think he's ready for it to be over. But that's also not to say he might not change his mind. So while we're expecting Jonah Williams is going to commit somewhere on Saturday, the 24th, it may not be over, is the way to say it, because maybe something happens throughout the fall of his senior year that could change his mind with where he wants to go. So be it Texas or LSU, one thing that seems pretty obvious is that wherever it is, it may not be all the way done yet for Jonah Williams, and that he's not shutting down his recruitment entirely and still up in the air what may happen. So we'll continue to keep an eye on it, but we'll have an announcement from Jonah Williams. We should have an announcement from Jonah Williams one way or another on Saturday, and we'll see if it can be the Tigers. The Tigers did get a big commit, a flip from Michigan to LSU, and four-star wide receiver Phillip Wright. Had a chance to talk to Phillip Wright on Friday. I'll let you hear some of what he had to say next. It's Locked on LSU, your team every day. I have this script in front of me for Factor. And there's some things that are in bold that I'm like obligated to read, but I'll get to that. But I just want to give you a testimonial. So I meal prep, and for years my wife meal prepped for me, and it would take up the entire Sunday. She would meal prep for the entire week. She'd package my meal so I could grab and go, because I don't always have a lot of time. Usually I eat lunch at my desk. It's just grab, throw it in the microwave real quick and go. And it was taking up the entire Sunday. So several years back, I said, you know what, enough of this. We're going to give you your Sundays back, and we're going to find a better way. And so we looked at a lot of different meal prep services, and I've tried lots of different ones. Some of the frozen meals, some of the ones that taste like cardboard that aren't very good. And recently I was using a meal prep service that went out of business, literally within the last month. And so my wife and I started searching around for a different one. He found Factor. And before I ever did a Factor read here, I had subscribed to the Factor meal plan. And I will tell you definitively, it is the best quality, best tasting meal prep, heat and eat service that I've been subscribed to. And I think this is the fourth or fifth one over the years that I have been subscribed to. If you are someone who needs to eat on the go, who doesn't have a lot of time to meal prep, and you want to eat something that's healthy with a good variety that tastes good, so you don't keep eating the same thing over and over that isn't very good, you need to try Factor. And of course, Factor has a great deal. So head to factormeals.com/lockedoncollege50. That's 50. Head to Factor Meals, FACTOR, factormeals.com/lockedoncollege50 and use the code LockedOnCollege50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code LockedOnCollege50 at factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. I actually mentioned that not long ago when I did a Factor read a while back, and someone in the comments challenged me and said, "Ain't no way he did that." And I said, send me your email address. I will send you a copy of my receipt, because I absolutely bought Factor meals before I was endorsing it. And I can tell you definitively, it's the best. It is the best meal prep service that I've ever been subscribed to. And I will be a buyer. I will be a customer for as long as they're in business. Check them out, y'all. Everything's in the description right there. Of course, we're also brought to you today by our friends over at eBay Motors, great sponsors and great partners of ours here on Locked On LSU. Passion, drive, and patience. Say it every day. That's the formula for winning championships, and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. So LSU got a commit recently from Phillip Wright. And it's an interesting one because Phillip Wright is from Destrehan, in the River Parishes, as you well know, and has been a heck of a pipeline to LSU from Justin, Ricky, and Jordan Jefferson, guys like John Emery here recently, Kalaj Cobbins, and Jace Thomas already committed for the class of 2025. Well, Phillip Wright is a burner, a true track speed athlete who plays receiver at Destrehan, had been committed to the University of Michigan and flipped just a few weeks ago to LSU. Well, on Friday on my radio show after further review on 104.5 ESPN in Baton Rouge and syndicated throughout Louisiana, I had a chance to talk to Phillip Wright, and I started by asking him why he made the decision to flip from Michigan to LSU.
You know, coming in the beginning, Michigan had checked all the boxes, and me coming to that splash and being able to pick the coach's brains and see other opportunities, LSU just, at the end of the day, checked more boxes. And that's why I felt at home. It's a home feeling, it's crazy feeling. So at the end of the day, I felt like LSU was the best for me.
We talked not long ago about about Destrehan here on the show, because obviously you committed, you got a teammate committed, Kalaj Cobbins, who was your teammate a year ago at Destrehan, is now a freshman at LSU, and there's a long line from the Jeffersons and John Emery. It's a long line of LSU players from Destrehan. How much, take me there into that program. How big of a deal is that, Phillip, to be a guy from Destrehan and have the honor or the opportunity to play at LSU?
It's an amazing feeling. Like I said before, it's home. Plus I got my teammates there, so they get to tell me the insides of what's good about the school and what's bad. But it's a blessing. Some of the best athletes coming from Destrehan got the opportunity to play at LSU, and me following behind these footsteps, that would be amazing.
It's a guy with legit track speed. He did tell me he plans on running track at LSU as well. He will not early enroll because he plans on running track his senior season at Destrehan as well. So we'll see Phillip Wright in Baton Rouge as a June enrollee before the 2025 season. I also got a question in about who is Phillip Wright, the player, how he would describe his game. And we also talked about areas he feels like he might need to work on before he gets to campus.
So as a receiver, I think I'm a game changer. With the ball in my hand, I can make many things happen, and not shock people with the moves I come up with. I'm not just fast. Like I could make a person miss. I could break tackles and everything. So I'm an athlete at the end of the day, and don't disrespect me.
Do you return kicks and punts as well? Is that something you like to do at LSU?
Yes, I do kick return and punt return. I like to get in the backfield and just different ways to get my hand on the ball to make things happen.
Where in your senior season would you say you'd like to improve?
I like to improve on just getting a little more shifty. You can always work on everything, even some things that I might not name right now. I just want to help my get that.
Understand. When we look at your profile, I know sometimes you look at the recruiting profiles, guys grow. I'm looking at 5'11", 170. Is that about where you are right now?
I'm actually 6 foot.
Okay, 6 foot, about 170.
Yeah.
Do you want to get bigger? Is that something that the coaches, strength and conditioning staff talk to you about, like putting on some size by the time you get to campus?
They say I could get a little weight, but you want to keep that speed on you, so I don't need to gain too much.
An engaging young guy, tons of confidence and tons of ability as well. Called himself a game changer, as you heard there. When you look at the LSU receiving room, I know we've talked about it before, but Kyron Lacey, Chris Hilton, CJ Daniels, Aaron Anderson, a lot of those guys could be playing their final season at the receiver position in Baton Rouge. And there's no shortage of talent in the pipeline, from Kyle Parker and Shelton Sampson and a long line of young guys. Jelani Watkins, before his foot injury, was really having a good camp as well, which is going to need a supplement. And they got a good one there in Phillip Wright. Okay, that's going to do it for us here on this Saturday edition of Locked On LSU. We appreciate you. Thanks for making us your first listen, as always. If you're there on podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Rate us, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. And please be sure to subscribe and let a friend know that if they love the Tigers, we got you here every single day for Locked On LSU, your team every day.